Do you comprehend the value of the bullet in your barrel?
You should write the back of VHS boxes, mate. That was great.
I cannot say how much I want everyone to watch this film.
Not salsa, not flamenco, my brother.
Do you know
Desi Nach?
I am the most complete fighter in the world. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
You can call it the art of fighting without fighting.
Stick around. Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate on me.
Dodge this.
Welcome back if you'd gone away, and welcome if you've just started your journey into the world of Dodge This, an action movie podcast. My name insists on being pronounced Simon Fielder. I'm a human man, English comedian based in Amsterdam. And joining me, as ever, for our action movie adventure is my good friend Matthew Heighton in the city of London, don't you know?
Yeah, I'm in Chimney Sweep Central. They're dancing out there right now. Yeah, now it is.
Oh, you can't turn a corner without bumping into a man with a sack full of brooms. Absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
It's episode 12 of Dodge This, which is probably some sort of milestone. I don't know. I know Buzzsprout, the podcast host, likes to tell us about all the milestones, but oddly, achieving 12 episodes is not down as one.
You think that'd be like, it's the same number as Disciples. It's the
That's
dirty.
true, actually.
It's our Dirty Dozen.
The Dirty Dozen.
Yeah.
That's what we should call it. Yes. We should think of like a number for an action film reference for every number.
There was a challenge. We don't have time to do this now, but it's a really fun challenge to try and count in movies.
Movies.
Yeah.
12 Angry Men.
You're already doing it in your head, aren't you? Like,
yeah, fuck. We haven't got time.
Yeah. Let's see if you can get to 12 very quickly. How quick you
From
can get
one?
to 12. Yeah.
Oh,
one can be literally anything.
It can be just any number. It can be.
I
any
guess
movie.
it needs a sequel.
Does it have to have the word one in the title though?
Yeah, I guess that would be playing it properly. Yeah.
Okay, like Army of One, Dolph Lundgren film.
There you go.
2 If by Sea, Sandra Bullock, Dennis Leary. 3 Men and a Baby.
Nice.
4.
It's hard, isn't it?
40 Winks. Is that a film?
I mean, that's technically 40 as well, but if it is a film, that's technically
okay. Failed at 4. I know. I know someone who would love this game.
Yeah,
have you got one in the chamber for 4?
The one I used was 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Of course, so obvious. What a stupid idiot I am.
Yeah. You could have also had for the action podcast, not out yet, but John Wick Chapter 4.
Oh, you're allowed that?
Yeah, it's got 4 in it.
Oh, well then then Star Wars episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the first 9 done.
If you wanted to do it that way, yeah, absolutely.
That's a really stupid way of doing it.
But you're not supposed to just get to 12. You're supposed to see how far you can get.
Right. Okay. Well, you get to 9 for free with those rules,
when you play in future, you're not allowed chapters or episodes.
No sequels. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, we've got to press on because we've got a very busy episode.
Could have had Fantastic Four. 4 Brothers.
4 Brothers. Yeah, that's a nice one. That's a nice one.
You want to try for a 5? You want to see if you can do one hand?
5. Oof. I mean, I've gone against my own rule. Fast 5. Not allowed.
Wait.
Because that's in the title. It's not.
Yeah,
fast
that is
with
allowed. Because not.
That feels like a loophole.
5.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can't find like a franchise. I think once you're allowed 2 out of a franchise is my rule.
Okay, good. I'm glad that we're like getting the rules down as we move through this.
Yeah. The one that I've said, let's be quick on, could have had 5 bedrooms. That's all that's coming up on IMDb.
Oh, is that the anthology
movie
I think so. With Tim Roth as a bellboy?
Yeah, you could have had if we allowed.
Oh, you're looking these up?
No, now I am because I couldn't think of any for 5.
Yeah, that seems.
I think I might have gone with Fast 5 on my one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've invented an impossible game. It's like the Google
It's
app.
not an impossible game. You just need 7 hours.
If anyone is listening to this and hasn't hung up already, or whatever the podcast equivalent of that is, and they can think of some good examples without looking them up, tweet at us.
Yeah.
It's been an exciting week since last we podded, and Emile Striker-Boudier joined us on the podcast to scream from the rooftops about RRR. Our very own Matthew Heighton went to the cinema to see RRR.
Yeah.
And today, well, you know, if he hadn't enjoyed it, I suspect this episode would have been about something else. But Matthew insisted.
Yeah.
We've got to. He's got a lot to say about it. I mean, I'm excited to.
I
hear
wanted
about
us
what
to
he's
do
gonna
an
say.
RRR special. I was so like, already I want to gush about this film. The way you summed it up the other week of this is like nothing I've ever seen before. Yeah,
Fair.
100% fair. We'll get into it.
Onto that thought. And also, maybe it's time for me to tease something I'm quite excited about this episode, which is that I have a little soundboard which allows me to play in sounds during the episode. So, Matthew, what is the film that we're going to be talking about today?
RRR.
Made that myself. So
nice.
quite exciting.
Already louder than you are in my ears. So good luck with that in the edit.
Quite sorry about that. So I'm going to say there's 6 of those. We can call it a sort of RRR bingo. And throughout the episode, maybe at different junctures, you'll trigger those and I will play them in.
Nice.
And then I'll probably
excited.
play them in repeatedly until they get a little bit annoying towards the end. Before we do that, though, we've got to get our appetite whetted with the pre-movie teasers, which means it's time for us to head to the trailer park.
Welcome to the party, pal!
Oh, nice.
Didn't load in those jingles, so I can't play those for you. Too excited about the RRR
It'd
ones.
probably make your job easier if you loaded them in there, actually.
In a way, it would, yeah. But I still get line them up and line them up right afterwards. Innit? All right, we got 3 trailers, and I'm going to start with the one that isn't an action movie but needs to be talked about because on the media landscape. Oh, actually, and in fact, we didn't talk about what we've seen outside of the action movie realm, largely because I've seen almost nothing since last we recorded. Has anything caught your eye?
I went to Doctor Strange last night, opening night last night.
Oh, very exciting.
I went and watched that. I enjoyed it. The action.
Sam Raimi returns.
Yeah,
to the Marvel universe.
There's a lot of. I'm trying to be very efficient with this without spoiling stuff, but there's a lot of big Marvel reveals, which are very much fan servicing to the point where the people in the cinema were like going, "Whoa, ooh,"
really?
like making real American noises in there, and
American noises.
that's what they're like in the cinema.
It's true.
I did enjoy it. They were a good audience, but
is it a good movie?
Well, I really enjoyed it, but I think I don't want to bag it, but I think I need to rewatch it. But it felt a bit hammy in places. There was some dialogue in it that just all the goodwill of it, just every now and again, it just pulled me out and went, oh no.
Oh no.
But it was really I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed where it went.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to watch it again in the cinema if I get a chance, just
Fair play.
because I want to give it another go. But I think it's really weird because everyone was going nuts for all the like Marvel reveals and all the stuff they did. But every time I saw a shot from the Evil Dead that he'd recreated, I was like the Leo meme, clicking at it, like
mate.
pointing
It's
at
like
TV.
that. The scene in Spider-Man 2, isn't it, where they try to like operate on Doc Ock and then it turns into a horror movie for a few minutes.
Well, this is the thing. Marvel, it definitely had horror conventions. For 12A as well, there's a few little bits. So I was like, oh, you've definitely pushed your dial to how far can we take this.
I'm definitely intrigued to see what Raimi's doing now. He's been invited back into the fold.
Yeah.
But I know, he still has to work within the confines of
It's very
the
much a
Marvel
Raimi
movie.
film. You could have played me this and said who directed this, and I would know absolutely.
Okay.
Take
Well,
Bruce
that's good to
Campbell
know.
out of it, and I would have known.
If Bruce Campbell doesn't make an appearance, I'm livid.
Oh, he's in it. That's
God.
widely known. But
Okay.
yeah,
Well, I
give
didn't
it
know that
give it a
until now.
watch. Give it a
Okay,
watch.
interesting that you would go and see it in the cinema twice. There's only one movie that I can recall I've seen in the cinema twice, Matthew, of late. Do you know what that movie is?
I think that might be RRR.
I love that so much.
Water.
I can't get enough. I've watched one more episode of Tokyo Vice, which is enjoyable. That's all I have to say about that.
Still not
It's on HBO
done
Max.
that episode of Cobra Kai for me. Oh, good.
Still haven't. I literally had one window and I watched one thing, and I'm sorry, I haven't finished Cobra Kai. We'll check
That's
back
so
in next time to see if I finish season 2 of Cobra Kai and what I can only feel like is inevitable review of it. Also, well, I don't know if I should say we've seen this outside of it or I should weave it into the chat about RRR, but the only other thing that I spent any measure of time was watching a 30-minute YouTube video by filmmaker Patrick Willems about RRR. Which
You sent it to me, but I've not had a chance to watch it yet.
No, because when you click on a YouTube video and it's 30 minutes, it's quite intimidating, isn't it?
Yeah, how many adverts was in there? Every 4 minutes?
I've got YouTube Premium. It's an absolute game changer.
Unbelievable.
Mate,
Someone's-
you can't go back. You
You're the
can't go back. That's the
only
problem.
person I know who has YouTube Premium.
Yeah, I'll tell you the secrets about it off air. Very interesting video though. He makes video essays and stuff, and I was delighted to see that after he had also given it a smashing review on Letterboxd, that he went in on a deep dive and talked about it and talked about some of the quite interesting stuff that I feel like we'll touch upon in this podcast. So maybe we'll circle back around to it then.
Yeah.
Unless you got anything else, we should go.
Let's
back
get in them
into-
trailers. Let's do the jingle again if you need to. Whatever you need, Simon.
Welcome to the party, pal.
I've played it. It's gone. Right. This is what I was about to start with, is the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer.
Yeah.
I'm just basically handing the reins over to you on this one. I think it looks all right, and I'll probably watch a bit of it because Star Wars still is a bit exciting.
Yeah, it's it's not that much more than the teaser we got and we touched on a while back.
Yes.
It's going to be great. It looks good. The thing with these, you never know, like, because all the trailers for Disney look great, and it's all going to come down to the same thing with character. But I will say this, something that is really prominent in the prequels that has been touched on far more than me will ever touch on in this 30-second bite. But if you look at the emotional drive of characters in the original trilogy versus the prequel trilogy, it's like a completely different set of films. Like, there doesn't seem to be any emotionally charged scenes and characters outside of, we know they're supposed to be emotional, but it doesn't feel like it's bubbling underneath it. Whereas you look at like the Darth Maul fight, for example, which is a very good choreographed fight, and I love it, but it is very slick and it's very choreographed. If you looking at the action here, you look at, say, the Darth Vader versus Luke Skywalker in Empire and in Return of the Jedi, and it's all like really sort of like almost on a teenage level. Yeah, it's anger and bubbling and all that stuff that, you know, happens in an argument, bubbling under this sort of ferociousness.
And I suppose you could say there is a little bit of that in Last Jedi.
Yeah, definitely. Like the new ones, they definitely, especially Rogue One, they definitely tried to capture that. But I don't think I've seen it much in the TV series. It's there, but it's not as much. Whereas the trailer for Obi-Wan, everything looks emotionally charged. So I'm hoping they just sort of, because they're very aware of their legacy and they're very aware of where the prequels stand, and a lot of people have a big soft spot for them, especially if they grew up with them. I think it could be
all
one
do.
film, yeah.
But
I think very much. Hopefully, this will bring all that stuff that people wanted into the prequels, all that sort of Anakin and Obi-Wan stuff, to the forefront, which they have focused on because they cut the Darth Maul stuff, which I was really looking forward to see, which is in Clone Wars. Because there's a
but
whole
it did have a little Vader tease in
Yeah,
this trailer.
Vader is
and
gonna be
whoever
common.
the baddie is looks like quite an interesting character. The lady, they're like another just sort of like black clad hard ass.
But again, this is where we find out, like, because the Sith have been in hiding, so you might find out like a lot of the Jedi split off. There's so much we're going to find out. It's going to be great.
All right. Well, it's not an action film, so it's never being mentioned on the podcast again. Next! JK, I'll probably almost certainly watch it. Another trailer that popped up this week is for a Chinese movie that is so Chinese that the trailer has no English subtitles yet.
It had some English titles, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, there was burnt in titles
Tooth for a
for
tooth.
Major taglines, but no subtitles for any of the dialogue. The movie is called Blind War. It's a Chinese actioner. It's got Andy On in it. And the guy who directed it, I looked at his IMDb, and it was a lot of sort of niche Chinese stuff, I would say. It looked like some quite sort of fantasy-y things, but nothing that had popped onto my radar, certainly. So I'm intrigued. I do like the look of it from the trailer, though. It's your classic, don't know whether this is one of your 5 action plots, but policeman is blinded, and then his senses are so heightened that he becomes a fantastic warrior. It's Daredevil kind of vibes.
Yeah. Is it called Blind Justice?
Blind War.
Oh, I couldn't remember. I was like, what's it called again?
Yeah, you might also be thinking of the 1980s Rutger Hauer movie Blind Fury, which features another blind veteran who is also like a ninja.
There you go.
The look on your face says to me, I am hearing about this movie for the first time.
Yeah, definitely. Like, no
it's
idea.
It's a Rutger Hauer straight-to-video classic.
Love a Rutger Hauer straight-to-video classic, but that has swung me by completely. Going back to Blind Cop,
War,
as I'm calling it. Blind Cop.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be great. I really like the look of this.
Yeah, it looks good. It is action-packed from the trailer.
Yeah, it says crazy, doesn't it? It says it's going to be crazy. Was it evil and crazy? It said in one of the
something like
things.
that. Yeah,
evil
and
and
the
crazy.
choice English words that made it onto the screen. Those are the ones. No idea what the plot is. He gets blinded. He presumably wreaks havoc and revenge on whoever has blinded him. We don't know what else happens outside of that, but he does something. He looks like he's up to some pretty cool shit. You know, he's got those Daredevil level heightened senses. He's fighting people. There's like guns in it. So I'm intrigued to see Daredevil in a gunfight.
Yeah, which I've seen in other Daredevil stuff, but yeah.
Damn it. Okay. I'm excited to see Chinese Daredevil in a gunfight. Is that a thing?
Sure. I mean, the closest I can get is Japan, I think.
Okay, fair play. Next trailer.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Oh, it feels like maybe I need some sort of, I don't know, like it's like an interstitial kind of sound to introduce the next trailer. Oh, what? That's it. That's all you get.
Wow. This is why you haven't been watching things this week. And I like it.
This is why I'm not allowed a soundboard ever again in an episode.
No, always.
Okay, the next one is Interceptor.
That last one, play it again. That's from Stomp, isn't it?
Does it put you in mind of the exact part of the film when this plays?
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, it makes me, every time I click one, I get like the excitement.
Let's go through the trailer. I want to talk about RRR.
Okay. This movie is Interceptor. It's coming out on Netflix at the beginning of June, I believe. And as I was watching it, I was thinking, this is perfect because it fits exactly into one of Matt's 5 action movie storylines. It's Die Hard on an Oil Rig.
Yeah, it's a very Do you know what? I think this is going to be awful.
It could be shit, though. Yeah. I also will. I will suffix that with "it could be shit."
I've said this before, but I think definitely with Netflix, there's definitely an action genre which could be called written by algorithm. Like it looks like a pastiche of an action film.
It's true, isn't it? Yeah.
And that's the stuff they're giving you in the trailer.
That's it. Yeah. Imagine the stuff they're not showing. If I didn't know better, I would think, oh, this was designed by a Netflix algorithm that is like, if you like strong female characters fighting back against authority and confined spaces and low budget explosions, you'll love The Interceptor. But it turns out that it is from a guy called Matthew Riley, who I hadn't heard of, but is a best-selling author. He's written like shit tons of books over the years. And he always wanted to get into movies, but all of his books are like $100 million movies. So he deliberately wrote a screenplay that he thought could get made for like 15 mil.
Oh, wow. Yeah, a lot of people do that where they write to budget. Yeah, great.
And somehow they've let him direct it. So after reading that, I was actually more hopeful because I was like, if it's like, a dream project, maybe it's not.
Now I'm swinging round.
He's coming around now. He's got a bit of backstory.
Yeah. I'm probably going to enjoy the making of more than the film.
Yeah, that is the worry, isn't it? Yeah, I very much like the story. I didn't recognize this lady, but she is in some Fast and Furious business.
I recognized her, but I didn't IMDb.
Suggests to me there are now too many characters in the Fast and Furious franchise.
Franchise I've only seen half of, and I keep saying I'm gonna
I hope it's the latter half, but it's not, is it?
We talked about this last time. I love the
first
Emil
was here. He'd be turning in his alive grave.
I love the first Fast and Furious film. I love it.
You'll only watch the ones that are available on DVD.
I think it was one of the first DVDs I bought.
Nice. Fair play. I would say have you watched Fast 5?
No.
Okay. That I think is probably my favourite one. I would just watch that one and then see how you feel about it.
Next time I have a weekend where my wife's away, I might clear it and just all of them in one block.
Instead, this weekend your wife is away and you've decided to work constantly through the entire weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, hashtag freelance life. Am I right?
Yeah.
There you go. All right, that's the trailers, Matt. I can tell you're frothing with excitement. Let's bloody do it. Let's get into our feature presentation.
And now, our feature presentation.
Dodge this.
I didn't press it. Gonna have to put that on in post. Thankfully, in not post, I can put on all kinds of exciting stuff because finally, after so much excitement, after defeating COVID, after defeating the limited scheduling of UK cinema chains, Matthew Hyton went to the excellent independent second-run cinema Prince Charles Cinema in Leicester Square, United Kingdom of London, England, and saw RRR.
It's great.
I'm never going to get bored of pressing the buttons.
That music, that specific piece, honestly, it just amps everything up.
I don't know the best way to approach tackling this film. I said a lot of things last week when we were chatting with Emil about it, and you were kind of like the casual observer, like, what are these guys on about? My goodness, they must be exaggerating all this kind of stuff. So I'm excited. I kind of want you to like talk me through. You get to the cinema. I just want to like be in your head. I'm so delighted that you saw it. My saddest thought is that I couldn't be sat next to you to experience you experiencing it.
There's three things about the experience. First of all, I thought I was going to miss this, as you knew. We thought we was going to see this when it comes out on VOD sometime late summer.
Well, I actually heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard it might be on Netflix this month.
Oh, wow.
The end of this month. I don't know if that's true, but I read it in a few places.
That would be the best thing for it, because that'll mean everyone will take a chance on it.
Right, because then they can ride the wave of this like, international publicity.
Do you like films that the length of The Irishman, but don't feel like the length of The Irishman?
Right.
Yeah.
You can even pause it during the interval.
Incredible. Oh, we had an actual interval. I'll get to that.
I can't believe that.
It's such a long film, but it breezed by. Like, it just, from second one to second the last, it does not take its foot off the brake.
How busy is it in the
unbelievable.
cinema that you get to see it? Who's going to see it at the Prince Charles?
There
Are these people
is-
who've listened to me screaming about it on Twitter?
I would
Who's
say it's
in there?
about. I'd say it's about a third full. It's
Okay.
pretty good. I come in just seconds before it starts because of tube issues.
Matthew.
Yeah, I was so sweaty. Burst in.
Thankfully, there is about 2 minutes of credits at the beginning for the streaming partners, the music partners, Don't Smoke, the financiers, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So that gives you a tiny buffer.
Yeah, but I got there, bang on starting. So
Bang on start, you say?
yeah. So it's great.
Oh,
There is an air of like people have come because they've heard the hype. You can tell that.
Okay.
It's a Prince Charles cinema audience. They are absolute
they're in the know.
cinephiles.
They're movie nerds. Yeah.
Absolute cinephiles. But there's two women in front of me who I would guess to be similar age, sort of 30s. And there's a guy to my
But
right.
playing age, late 20s.
Yeah. There's a guy to my right with his, I'll assume, girlfriend, who's probably in their young 20s. Now, the women in front of me were like a live emotion sort of soundboard. So, like, every time something happened, the intent of the filmmaker came out through one of their mouths in the best possible way.
Amazing.
So there was like a bit of action that was like a little bit like, whoa. They'd be like, whoa.
Oh, wow.
And then
Okay.
if there's like a bit of a violent bit that's quite tense, to be like, oh. If there's a double cross, they'd be like, there was a genuine no.
Wow.
So like that was constant, and I loved it. Like
It was
normally,
a good amount, though, not an annoying
yeah,
amount.
no, it wasn't everything, but like
Okay.
normally I would hate that in a cinema.
Yes,
But with this,
yes.
the best thing, and to go to the bit that I love. I really want to say what it is, but obviously we don't want spoilers. But that bit, do we talk about it?
I think to some degree, unless it's like any major twists, which there sort of aren't, because I think like the story is, I don't want to say incidental, but it's like you look at the roller coaster from the outside and you go, look at that, there's like 2 loops there. But then when you get on it, you're like, I did not expect it to be like this.
Yeah, that is the best way of explaining this film. So yeah, I don't want to spoil the shot that everyone, just before the interval block, the shot.
Okay, it's the one that was my action replay.
Yeah,
from last week. Yeah.
Exactly. It is so, like, you've had by this point about 2 hours of balls to the walls, just action, adrenaline, bromance,
The
backstory, sort of everything is going on by this point. So you're so invested in the sort of rhythm of this film. Like, there's no sort of like, we open with this and you're like, eat that, get used to the flavor. You are so acclimatized to this film now. You think, I know what this film is. This is amazing. It's not going to surprise me anymore. Then there is one shot.
Oh, actually, now I know what you mean. Now I know the shot you mean.
The truck.
The truck. Oh,
Yeah.
Everyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's the moment that we mentioned last time, the sort of denouement of the first half of the film. It's a huge action scene that happens before the interval, and it kicks off, and it sets its stall out, and it sets the bar so high
And
with what happens.
It comes off the back of a big emotional reveal as well, like a big emotional driver. So the pacing of this is already, you're on edge. And there's a million things I expected.
But you could never in your
but it had been
wildest
seeded.
dreams.
So this is something I don't think you guys talked about last week, but something that this really pays off. So it is bananas. Like, they have gone, whatever comes to mind, nothing's off the table. Like, they really just like throw everything at the wall. We'll take what works for us, and we will put it on the mains. Like, we will absolutely charge this to the max. But there's just bits where you just can't get your head around what you've seen. But what they've done,
How?
Yeah.
Who thought of this?
what they've done is they've they've actually concentrated on the plot.
But it does make sense, right? They've
really carefully things, even throwaway things that you sort of just go, that's a cool thing, comes back. Like, so you talked about the musical number,
yes,
which is incredible. Like, I've seen, so that drum beat, which is an incredible scene. Like, the way they do this is like, and you guys said this last week, and it's the most accurate thing ever. Like, the British people are the Nazis in this narrative, and quite rightly, like the Empire and all the atrocity of it. That's what they're up against, and they've cranked that up. They've caricatured that to such a degree.
Cartoonish level baddies.
Yeah, there's generally a moment, and it made everyone in the cinema laugh, where they've made what I would assume at that time in the British Empire, like a governor, wouldn't it? Be like that sort of thing. Yeah. They're sort of in charge of the district for the
Ray
Empire.
Stevenson character.
Yeah. They made them exactly like the King and Queen. They dressed like the King and Queen. So they've gone, we can't have King George here, but it's King George. But his wife, there's a genuine bit where she's like, no, I wanted to see more blood. It's great. Yes. And even when it's like that cartoony against what it's against, you're just like, you're so invested.
But it is almost like, it seems crazy at the time. But if you think about like Game of Thrones, or like, she's like a sort of Cersei Lannister character, but like possibly without the nuance. But nonetheless,
there is this isn't a spoiler, but there is a public flogging. Someone gets flogged, goodness. And it's quite brutal at times.
Yeah, it really is.
But this, I want to see blood. There's a great bit where the whip isn't doing it, so she goes, "More, use this," and she throws down a whip that's like full of barbed spines, and you're just like, yeah, of course you'd be carrying that. Of course you'd have that under your.
She's got that in a royal handbag.
Yeah, it's just incredible. But going back to what I was saying before, like there's a dance scene, and also it's.
Sorry, Matt. Did you say there's Did you say there's a musical number in this?
Yeah, there's a musical number. It's amazing. It is.
It just
think
makes me smile so hard.
I think my cheeks hurt from smiling during the scene. Again, it's a lot of times, obviously you expect a music number in Bollywood
or Tollywood.
But again, they properly drove it into the character development and the story plot, and they really did it. But they also like managed to use it as a sort of a comparison to like how ridiculous the idea of Britishness at that time is. So like the idea of refinement and stuff. And there's a really beautiful thing where this guy just shows different dance styles off, and then they ask him if he can do this dance style, and it is so like you just whip up underneath the sort of intent they charge into that scene. You just absolutely get caught up in it.
Because you're so like backing the Beam character by then already. He's this like, he's so lovable, even though, you know, he's introduced as this like wild man of the jungle. And then he's sort of put in this like city setting where he's all like, oh, I don't really know my way around. And he's treated really badly. And then he's trying to woo this lady in, like, and it's like the cutest thing. And then he goes to the big dance, and then immediately there's like an awful British guy who's like
an absolute bro of his time.
You don't know nothing about culture. His British accent isn't even that.
There
good,
is one of those accents though, but he's more. You know nothing of these, you bloody.
There's buggers. Yeah. There's a lot of buggers around.
Yeah,
and then so on top of that, there's suddenly someone else just like putting him down, making fun of him, and then his good friend Ram steps up.
We've not even really summarized the plot, which is really important. 33 minutes.
I know. Maybe we should start at the beginning. The first of the three.
Do you remember what the 3 R's stand for?
Yes, rise.
Yeah.
Roar.
Yeah.
Revolt.
Well done. I didn't know you.
But also, interestingly, they are the initials of the director and the 2 stars.
Ah.
It's a little factoid for you. When they first started putting this movie together, it was like a working title called
nice.
RRR.
And they worked it.
For Rama and Rajamouli. And then they reverse engineered it to make it the title of the movie.
Oh, I like that nugget, actually.
Here's an extra fun fact is that a Indian man told me that fact in the toilet of the cinema after we'd seen the movie.
I love little nuggets of post-cinema thing. I had it
It's
once.
nice.
I had once when the first of the Jurassic World series came out, so Jurassic World, I was in the toilets afterwards, and it was absolutely packed because it was opening night and we're at the IMAX. And there's these 3 kids, they must have been around 10 years old, and it was absolutely adorable. Not the toilet stuff, but you
should have set this story somewhere else.
Yeah,
mate.
yeah.
Should have set it in the foyer by the pick and mix.
But they were leaving as I was washing my hands, and one of them went, "So are there other Jurassic movies?" And the kid was like, "Yeah, this is Jurassic 4. Jurassic 1 is the best. I'd say this is the second best. And then Jurassic 2 and Jurassic 3 are pretty good." And I was like, "Oh yeah, because you view this as like the 4 Jurassic Park." And it was great. And it also made me go, this is amazing, hearing someone who has no concept of that legacy explaining this. But also,
that is a beautiful story.
Yeah.
And I think you have told that story on the podcast before, Grandad.
I think I might have, yeah. I love it. I love audiences finding new things, which is exactly what I love about this film, is finding something that now I could watch this every day. But to summarize the plot very quickly.
So you go in, it starts.
Yeah.
Story is the first title card,
Yeah.
right? 1 story.
It's so dense. You have to really strip this back. But essentially, it is someone who is, I don't want to give away any of his backstory because the backstory comes later and that enhanced it. But,
Well, the first part is the kid,
oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there's a lovely little Indian girl singing to the nasty Cersei Lannister character.
King George and Cersei's wife. Yeah, whatever.
The lady who plays Catherine Buxton, Alison Doody, is a Bond girl. Did you know this?
I did know this. Also,
Incredible scenes.
Ray Stevenson all the way through. I was like, where do I know this guy from? It was bugging me. And only in about the last 20 minutes, it clicked. He's in Thor.
Yes, he is in Thor.
Yeah.
I don't remember him from Thor. He's also, you'll be delighted to hear this, in the Scott Adkins movie, Accident Man.
Yeah, well, it's been a while since we had an old Scotty A shout out.
Well, Accident Man 2 currently in production, post-production, I believe. So I can imagine we'll be talking about that in depth on the podcast.
Accident Man 2 this time with more accidents.
Less accidents. This time it was no accident.
Yeah.
Okay, so story is the first little tiny.
All right,
bit.
Simon. Otherwise, we're going to run into where in 20 minutes we've not got it. I want you to try and bash through this in a minute. So I'm looking at the clock. You've got a minute to summarize the plot starting now.
Okay, there's 3 prologues before the title screen even comes up and says RRR. 1, story. A small Indian girl paints henna onto this posh lady. She likes it so much, she says, I'll take it. But she says it in English. The family don't understand. They accept her coins. She meant the child. She takes the child. The mother is livid. Skip to the introduction of our first character. It's Ram. He is fire. He is an officer in the British police / army, and he is an absolute badass. As Emil talked about last week, his introduction scene is like him being an absolute superhero. Okay, we meet him. He's amazing. Next, we go back to the jungle where Beam lives. He is water. He is doing some sort of thing to prove how hard he is, where he runs away from a wolf. But twist. A tiger intervenes, and there is an incredible scene where he is very, very strong, but also he loves animals. Then the title hasn't even come on screen yet. Oh,
yeah,
God.
you're not even got to the crux of it, and you're already
He goes to the city to try and rescue the girl. There's a massive incident that brings the 2 guys together. The policeman who is searching for an unknown hard nut from the jungle, and the hard nut from the jungle Suddenly, they are brought together to rescue a child from a flaming train that's fallen off a bridge in the most incredible meeting of two characters you've ever seen on film. It's also an amazing piece of like art if you freeze frame it, and it's on some of the posters of them swinging from ropes.
Oh,
then they become best friends.
Even better. I'm just going to interrupt because I can't ever pass this moment. They thought these guys meeting in the middle of the air, throwing a kid to safety, whilst swinging through fire under a burning train.
Not enough.
That's not enough. Not enough. They're going to then fall in the water. Oh, they're going to find each other in the water, come up to the surface and see each other first time. No. They're going to be smiling all the way and they're going to physically walk across the bottom of the river to clasp each other's hands. And thus begins the best friendship of all time.
It is the best movie friendship that I can remember in recent memory that probably isn't in a Pixar movie or something like that. But it is that level.
Yeah. And it is, like you said last week, it is so unashamedly joyous in how they represent that friendship. Like there's no sort of like anything but other than this is just like messing around with your friend, you got each other's bracks. I'm going to cut
They're
in.
just having japes, aren't they? They're just having lovely little like bromance adventures together.
Yeah, little,
they're
like,
on the back of a bike. They try to steal a goat.
If they could have had it, if it was wasn't such a Western trope, they would have stole a pie off a windowsill. It's that
100%.
level. That level.
That's the equivalent, I imagine.
Yeah.
Stealing a goat from a hill. I don't know what if that's the
great.
equivalent of stealing a pie in old-fashioned movie tropes.
Anyway, friendship.
There's a lot of rambunctiousness and like, rabble-rousery. They're all like, oh, you.
Are
And
you
they're
trying to
best
just
friends.
use R's there?
Yeah, I'm trying to get as many RRRs. There's rabble, rousing.
But yeah, it's incredible. So anyway, do you want me to try and do this in a minute? Because you
can lead us up to the interval, probably.
Yeah, so one guy from the jungle searching for a stolen villager from the British Empire. One guy who we don't know his backstory yet is the best officer going, who's an Indian working for the British. Their fates send them towards each other, but a chance accident makes them work side by side, blinded by friendship. They don't realise they're the opposing side of each other until
Have you written this down? This is great.
This is coming out of it. This is then suddenly their friendship is put aside because their destinies take sort of course. There's betrayal, there's upheaval, and then there is an absolute action scene just as revelations are found, but keep the two apart, pushing them together in conflict to the interval, where it's one of the best action scenes I've ever seen. And then the interval comes in at this sort of desolate place of friendship lost, challenges won and lost, but at what cost? Well, the British Empire wants to make an example to squash the spirit of an entire country because of this entirely complete set of circumstance, and both of them realize something bigger is happening around them, and the only way to tackle it is head on by coming together, realizing that their friendship was a true friendship, and together they can accomplish anything and ignite the spirit of a sleeping country into revolution.
Sorry, wait, let me just... You should write the back of VHS boxes, mate. That was great.
And I cannot say how much I want everyone to watch this film.
Like we said last week, we talked about the first time we delved into the Indian Pandora's box of cinema. We watched War, and that sort of, I think, opened both of our eyes to like, wow, there is some pretty cool stuff coming out of India these days, and probably for a long time before, but it has never like bubbled up in the media landscape enough to have entered into our eyes.
Interestingly, with War is one that is similar level of bananas, but there's an irony to it. You watch that with the sort of you enjoy it in an ironic way to an extent.
To some extent, yes,
because the action is so much more sort of glossy.
It's also so macho.
Yeah. Whereas there's a real purity to this film, and it is because of those central characters. How
there's a sweetness and an innocence to them, right? That somehow, in spite of the fact that they're doing these incredible action scenes, still like there's just the look in Beam's eyes is so
Yeah, and there's again we could talk about this for 17 hours and we'd still be scratching at stuff.
I feel like that podcast would be diminishing returns. Maybe,
yeah.
I reckon we could get the first 3 hours. People would be like, well, I watched 3 hours of the movie.
I think the excitement would maintain. I just want people to see it and go in there without any sort of, because we hype it up, but you hyped it to me. It's just amazing. Like, and the weird thing is,
would you say you went in and you were like, there's no way this is going to live up
I
to
knew I was
that?
going to enjoy it, but I didn't know how much I was going to enjoy it. So I was going to say to you, this is how far we sidetracked. When I was talking about the shot with the truck,
Yes.
this is when I knew this film was something else. Because this shot with a truck, that you'll have to watch the film to see exactly why we're going bananas about it, is so good. There was a guy with his girlfriend to the right, and instinctively we both looked at each other at the same time with a look that just went, I just need to check that you saw that as well. And that's the film for me in a bag. Like, we're both like, yeah, man,
you had a little bromance in the cinema.
Yeah, it's great. And then I carried him.
That is
and
beautiful.
Did squats and pull-ups with him. We stole a
And then
goat.
there's about 5 more moments after that where you shared that look and we're like, are you seeing this?
Yeah.
It's interesting that you mentioned the squats, because during that bromance thing and to some degree the truck thing, even the maddest, most fantastical shit, they do set it all up. None of it is like, what? It's like, oh, well, like, he's from the jungle. We've already seen that.
Yeah.
He did squats with him on his shoulder. It is, the logic is there, even if it's like turned up to the nth degree.
100%. Also, like, I can't explain just how close to Dragon Ball Z characters these guys are.
You'll have to, because I am not familiar with Dragon Ball Z.
They're just like next level human beings.
Right.
Like they're essentially superheroes, but they're normal guys. Like,
and throughout the movie, they're like heroes, brackets superheroes journey.
Yeah.
Sort of, it literally becomes complete by the final scene. Like, they are superheroes ostensibly.
They're doing, and everything pays off. The only thing that I am interested in, I would love someone to get in touch with me, because I don't know enough about the country and obviously we know about the history, but I don't know what the sentiment is in the modern world and stuff. But like, this put me in mind of a lot of American films, which is very like USA. So obviously, British Empire was awful. You've set it a good time to do it. But there's a song at the end for the closing credits, which is essentially Pick Up the Flag. And I do wonder,
it's a little bit propaganda-y, isn't it?
Yeah, I do wonder how, like, because if I saw like an American film or any sort of Western film that ended with Pick Up the Flag,
people waving the flags.
Yeah.
So you mean a Michael Bay film?
Yeah. I wonder, I'd be like, oh, like it'd leave a real horrible taste in my mouth. And I just wonder,
it is
like,
interesting
how people who like live there and grew up there, if that is a like the same sort of reaction from them, where they go, oh, that's a bit of a tang.
Yeah, because I think we associate those shows of like overwhelming patriotism and nationalism as a like right wing, because they've kind of been co-opted by the right wing, right?
Yeah.
Like the Trumps and the what's his, Brexit wanker,
Farage.
that kind of Farage,
Brexit
like
wanker.
that side of. I think that's his Twitter handle, actually.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that is the case in India. If that these sort of they're revolutionaries ostensibly, aren't they? Like,
yeah.
But I suppose throughout history there's revolutionaries who
absolutely. I mean,
in time have become
look
like
at
Che
Les Mis.
Guevara on a t-shirt.
The iconic shot in Les Mis is them picking up the flag and waving it. Like, so it's
Right.
not like unbelievable. I just wonder, like, if I saw, say, a film about the American Revolution and Civil War, and I saw that, would like that sort of propaganda make me go, ooh, feel a bit icky? Or would I be like, yeah, because it's historical? I just wonder, because I don't know enough about it.
And I think some of the imagery in the credits song is very. It made me think of like hammer and sickle, of like communism things from the Cold War era or before, and it's interesting to see them and be like, yay! Actually, is it? I presume it's okay for me to be excited by this, right? This is like a good thing.
I mean, it whipped me up. I was ready to pick up the flag, mate.
Mate, if it turns out we've been indoctrinated into some sort of cult, I'm going to be livid.
I'll say this for the film as well. We've not touched on this yet. When they have a song in it, and they have a few songs in it.
Sorry,
like
when they have a
song in it.
We're running out of time. I'm going to stop pressing it.
Yeah, this is the last thing I'll say. I love that they just sing about the plot. They don't pick a song that fits the scene. They write a song like he's as strong as a mountain, and
yes,
like really
it's like it's the Greek chorus thing, isn't it?
Great.
Will this friendship end in bloodshed? Oh my god, I love that.
It's great. Anyway,
and even some of the there's not loads of sort of musical style singing apart from that massive bit and the one at the end, but then there is the little bit, and it's right after the thorny whip or during the thorny whip where he just starts singing a little bit.
That is genuinely a beautiful scene.
And it's just very affecting, isn't it? Like you're not expecting it, but you're sort of like, I'm all for this actually.
Mad as this film is, they really understand filmmaking. They understand plot structure and they understand character. So when they do take their foot off the brake with a song like that or something, it's really effective because like you've not had that moment to experience that sort of thing. They're really good at like putting, like I said earlier, putting their emotional intent under a scene and putting it on screen. It's great.
Yeah. And it's, it's painting with broad strokes. There's no sort of subtlety. There's no, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's just like, this is how you are meant to feel during this scene. Yeah. This is the sad part. This is the fun part. Yeah. This is the action part. And when they switch the dial to, rom-com, it's 100% rom-com. It's not like arch sneery sort of like, nah, we don't need to do this. It's just like beautiful, irony-free romance. Yeah. Similarly, drama, they'd like given it everything. It's like real emoting. And then when they switch to action, oh boy, we're talking Spinal Tap up to 11.
Yeah, and then some. I mean, to the point where obviously my action replay is the truck. But
that's my action replay.
Yeah.
What's your level 2? One down. One down.
So much. Do you know what? 2 things.
Okay, wait. Let me play the action replay jingle.
Okay.
Doop. Sorry. I mean, let me play this jingle. Continue.
This is so hard. Because there's so much in that scene that happens, which could easily be an action replay.
Well, I actually, now that we've said it out loud, I'm not sure I said it was the truck. It was the bit where what they do their fire and water things.
Yeah. That would probably be my second one.
I can allow the truck. Allow the truck.
The truck is definitely my action replay. I do love seeing a motorbike weaponized quite effectively.
I mean, that was extraordinary.
Yeah, and a bloody sucker for watching someone good on a punch bag. A little bit of training.
I mean, that he's very angry and he's got a lot of emotion to get out. And oh boy, that punch bag takes some punishment.
Yeah, but they would be my actual replays. Again, all I want is people to watch this film and then message me and go,
I'm so glad I watched it.
Thank you for this film. I'll spread the word.
Yes, exactly. There's probably like 7 different moments that you could gif from the action scene at the end of them like jumping through the fire, flying out of the water with the spear. Obviously, the motorbike bit, which is in the trailer, so we're not spoiling that.
So much.
There's a bit where an arrow stops next to a guy, and then he kicks it through a tree.
Oh, so good. It's so good.
400 copyright strikes on this episode.
I think we should end there because otherwise it's going to be another hour of us just telling you how good it is. Go out, watch it. If you watched it already, watch it again.
I mean, the takeaway from last week is watch it. The double takeaway from this week is now Matthew has seen it.
Watch it. Yeah,
And if you've seen it, you'll understand why Matt was like, we got to talk about it more.
Yeah.
Because you're going to want to talk about it with everyone else.
100%. There's going to be a lot of people in your WhatsApp that you're like, hey man, have you seen this film? You got to see this film.
And if you're ever having a bit of a slow start to your day, or if you're ever feeling a little bit glum,
so good.
Okay. I'm going to give you 20 seconds of action movie trivia. I want you to smash this one out of the park.
Oh, God.
Okay, here we go. Who plays Holly in Die Hard 2?
Holly Gennaro in Die Hard 2?
Is it A, Patricia Velasquez, B, Kerry Washington, C, Bonnie Bedelia, D, Katie Cassidy?
Absolute guess, but Bonnie?
He's absolutely nailed it again.
Ooh. That was the only one that rung a bell. I didn't know that. It just rung the right bell.
In fairness, if I hadn't been looking at the answer, I don't think I would have known it. But hearing it, you're like, yeah that checks out. Yeah, that checks out. All right, Maddie's got to go back to work. Simey's got to go back to work.
Simey.
Old Symes. But everyone has to go and see RRR if it's still on at your local cinema. Otherwise, don't worry, we're going to keep you up to date when it comes out on streaming, as if we're not going to be yelling it from the rooftops. Matthew is available on all your favourite social networks at...
Yeah, just look me up. My name, Matthew Heighton. Just look me up.
Matthew Heighton into Google, mate.
You'll find it.
And I am at Simon Fielder.
Very nice.
And
very nice.
We will see you in, I imagine, 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, there's some big films coming up. Very excited. Very excited.
We got a lot to pack in.
We do.
A lot coming up. It's going to be a feature-packed summer. In the meantime, feel great about yourselves.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.